everybody, thanks for joining in today. I thought I'd do the hashtag Balance the Deck Scales, which is a VR2 Gens Balance Tarot. So I've got a few decks here that I think might link to the elements, well they do for me. So let's flip the camera around and take a look. Okay, so starting with the air element first, I decided to go for the Alchemical Tarot by Robert M. Place. And the reason I chose this deck, if I can get it out of the box, oops, drop it everywhere, is I love the way that it gets me thinking. And it's a deck that encourages me to use my intellect, to delve a bit deeper into my own knowledge, to deepen my knowledge of alchemical references, to astrological references, and to make those connections while doing a reading. And this is definitely a card that gets me thinking, so that it definitely gets that mind ticking. And I think that relates to the air element for me, because it definitely is one that inspires me to think more, to learn more, to develop more knowledge. So that is the reasoning behind choosing the Alchemical Tarot. And on the flip side, with the other deck for the air element, I chose, if I don't drop it everywhere, the Spacious Tarot. And the reason why I chose the Spacious Tarot is for the fact that it helps me with my personal development. It's an opportunity for me to use my imagination, to take myself into the cards, to become part of them. Half of them are upside down, a bit better. To become part of them and to develop my own journey with them. So that is how I sort of link that to the element of air, is that personal development, and definitely using the imagination as well. So that is why Spacious fits into the air element for me. So that being air, next we'll do water. So water is the emotional side of the coin. So for that one, I got the Last Unicorn Tarot. And the Last Unicorn Tarot for me is a card that does stir emotions within me. I feel that this deck is a very watery sort of deck. It's got a lot of flow with it, but it's also one that connects me to my childhood and to a different time. And that's what that movie does to me, is it takes me back to a different place. But I do find very intuitive readings from this deck. And that's what I really like about it, is that I find it a very intuitive deck to work with, which is why I'm putting it in the water category. And just like I said, the way that it flows. So that is the Last Unicorn for the water. And the other one, which is for the water, is the Lover's Path Tarot. And this one is about relationships and connections with people, and it's got like Cleopatra and Caesar and who else, Penelope and Odysseus, and lots of different stories of relationships. And you know, it's about a deck about learn about those connections, like Tristan and Isolde, and how they relate to the cards. So I find this deck fits in water for me because of the way that the relationships within the cards are woven to become part of the story of the cards, Venus and Vulcan, and that's the balance. So just learning about how those relate to the tarot is probably why I'd put it in the water camp. So this is the Lover's Path one. Not I work with overly often, but I think I like the stories behind it. I like the myths and the legends, and learning about different pantheons and their stories. So that's one I would link to relationships and with people. And for fire, True Black. This is a relatively new one in my collection, and one that I've just recently started working with. And what I love about it is that it's just got that fire energy in it. It's got the creative energy, the spark of trying something new or being creative. I find it one that does stir the creative side of me. So that's how I've sort of viewed this deck. I feel a lot of iron element, you know, the iron coming out of this, and that's very much a fire related element. But yeah, I definitely get a fiery energy from this deck, and it's not just the images, but I think it just what stirs within me, and it's sort of definitely stirs that creative side. So that's why True Black sits in fire for me. And I'm pretty sure Simon put True Black in fire as well. And next we have the other fire one, which I chose Lightseers. Lightseers is very much a deck which gives me a kick up the backside. Really, if you want to set a firecracker under my bum, this would probably be the one that does it. It's the one that motivates, gets things moving, happening, transforms, changes, drives that change. So for me, Lightseers is definitely one to sit in fire for that reason. It's the one that's motivational most of all. So that's how I feel about Lightseers, and that's the relationship I have with Lightseers. And then we've got Earth, and I've picked Druidcraft, probably because it's mostly related with my craft that I do, the witchcraft, the earth-based practice that I do, and it definitely connects me to the pagan roots and the ways of old in England and Ireland and Scotland and all those beautiful lands that are just so far away from here, but you feel so much a part of by working with this deck. So definitely Druidcraft for Earth and making that connection with the land. And the other one is Terror of the Hidden Realm. And that may be for a similar reason, but for me it's mainly because of the people that are represented in the fairy realm, and it connects you with the other side of the earth aspect. You've got the earth itself, but then you've got the creatures that dwell within the earth and beyond what you can see, and the guides and the messages from them. And I always find that very grounding, especially when going outside and sitting under a tree and just connecting with nature and just sensing those other beings around you. So that is why this one sits in Earth for me. And I've just started working with this deck as well, which is quite exciting. I do find it very grounding, which I think is important. And finally we have Spirit. And no surprises, the Shimmering Veil is definitely one that connects with Spirit. There's something about these cards that just stir deep within you, and you can just get lost in these cards. I think they're just beautiful. The way that they pull you in, the way that they speak to your soul, the way that you can connect with them on such a different level and such a spiritual level. These are ones that you can meditate with, and journey with, and for me ones that I think activate that crown chakra. So they definitely stir that connection for me. So I think Shimmering Veil does that to so many. Just the way these cards speak to people is just astounding, and I really, really do love them. I think the energy they give off is just beautiful. So that's the first one for Spirit. And the second one, which I did and ah about, and this is only a Mages Only deck, so it may or may not count as such, but I went with the Māori Major Arcana, and the reason I chose this one is that these cards connect me with the spirit of my land. These are the myths, these are the archetypes, these are the people who dwell in the land that I live. They are representative of the elements that are around me, the earth, the air, the water, the fire. All these depictions of gods have a connection, and it's a deep connection for me. I've grown up learning these stories, knowing the ways, and for me that's why this deck, even though it being a Mages Only, is one that does fit in with me spiritually, because of that spiritual connection to the land. And I think that's just as important. So there we go. Those are the decks that connect with the elements for me. And I really enjoy doing this hashtag, so thank you very much, Jen's Balance Tarot, and a link to her original video is down below if you'd like to take a look yourself. Until next time, see you later.